Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. We're doing an 8-4 Dragons of Tarkir Fate Reforged draft. I think Flatten's the pick here. I mean, we got Mirror Mockery as rare. Stormcrag Elemental's pretty good, but I think we're just going to go with the solid piece of removal here as a first pick pretty easily. Okay, follow-up pick. Well, I like Epic Confrontation more than Pacifism. In terms of, there's not a good black pick, so we're not going to do that. I think Scale Lord's fine, but I'd rather get a removal spell here. I think I'm just going to take the Confrontation. I love this spell, so no issues taking it. And like I said, I think it's a better card than Pacifism. Definitely a better card than Pacifism, at the very least in this format. Okay, next pick. Let's see what we got here. We've got Circle of Elders, which keeps us in green. I don't really like this card. I think the strongest cards are Sprinting Warbrute and Sabertooth Outrider, though I don't know exactly which one I like more, but it's going to be one of those two cards. So this has the dash, and it can get in for 5, which is pretty good, and Outrider formidable ability is pretty good too. I think I'm going to go Warbrute. I don't know on that one. That one's tough. I'm going to go Warbrute though. Like I said, I do not know if that is correct or not. I suppose Outrider with Confrontation. Well, I mean, this one's a little bit tougher to do with Epic Confrontation because you have to pay 5 on the top end to get it out. But I think Warbrute is certainly an acceptable pick here. We'll have it for its hard mana cost. Okay, I'm comfortable taking a Dragon Fodder here. Otherwise, there's Shambling Goblin in black. Another green-white card. I could take the Scale Lord too, but I'm cool taking Fodder here. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's early enough where Fodder could pay off, and we could still potentially end up red-black, but got to admit, black's seemingly been getting cut here. All right, well, now there's a couple good green cards. They're starting to see some white cards, though. Maybe red-white is ultimately... The problem is the white cards we see aren't, like, bonkers. So I think I'd just like to take a Conifer Strider here, which is just a good card in my mind. Good for formidable, especially if we end up in green-red, I think. Dramoka's Gift is also a pretty decent card, but I actually like Conifer Strider. Okay, here I think I'm just going to take the Aspirant. There is Belltoll Dragon in blue, which is good, but Aspirant's a good red card, and I mean, I wouldn't say it's better than Belltoll Dragon. It's likely worse, but otherwise it's like Coat with Venom to stay in black, which doesn't really seem that appealing to me. I like Aspirant. Aspirant's a good card. I like it more than Servant for sure. So, alright, let's take the Aspirant here. Certainly a fine 2-drop. All right, there is Rending Volley, but I think I'm going to take Dragon Fodder number 2. Having 2 Dragon Fodders actually kind of motivates me to want to move deeper into white, and it seems like white could be open. That would give us some Warflare options out of the Fate Reforged pack, which would be great with these Dragon Fodders. Otherwise, you know, Exploit is good with it, but that's neither in green nor red. I think we're likely to find a Volcanic Rush at some point, though, which also is going to work well with these Fodders. Other than that, Fodder's just a fine card. All right, Impact Trimmers. You know, I don't think it's that sexy of a pick, but after double Dragon Fodder, I'm at least willing to consider it. What am I giving up for it? A Lose Calm that I don't really care about, I feel like. And Ojutai's Breath, which is, you know, it's playable for sure. I'll take the Trimmers, whatever. I don't think we're likely to... Ew, got that Volcanic Rush. All right. Well, Volcanic Rush looks a lot better now with Conifer Strider, double Dragon Fodder. So we'll make that happen. All right. Maybe, you know what? Honestly, the white-red plan, I would say with the table Dramoka Warrior, that could be the indication we needed. All right. We don't have any dragons yet, but I can ponder it. Nothing else is really looking all that appealing. All right. Take a Vandalize, I guess. We don't have any 4 toughness guys, really. I guess we have Warbrute, but take Vandalize, whatever. Cut red. So interesting pack one, to say the least. We got a flatten pick one, and it looked like black dried up pretty quick. Saw a really late Jamocha Warrior, which indicated to me white is potentially open. And I think, based on the double dragon fodder and the late Jamocha Warrior, red-white might be the direction I ultimately want to go. Like I said, Warflares out of Fate Reforged pack tend to go late, and seemingly something that would go well with this deck. Ooh. All right, well, I think we're just going to first pick a Roast pretty easily here. Really good removal spell, and not really giving up much of anything else I care about, so pretty easy first pick, I think. Okay, here's a Bell Striker, which really isn't even that good. I probably just wanted a Tarka Efreet. I love a Tarka Efreet, and I think it's more powerful than Bell Striker. Bell Striker's fine. I don't think it's worth anything anymore, though. It's worth a ticket. I think I'd still rather have an Atarka Efreet. Forerunners actually looks really good with double dragon fodder, but Efreet's just so strong. I love that it's like a creature that also pings things and kills them. So I'm going to go Efreet. There is a pacifism too, though. I think I'm still going Efreet. I love it. Efreet with Volcanic Rush is pretty nuts, too. All right, we can go Warbrute number 2, or we can go Screamreach Brawler, both of which are fine, I suppose. There was also a Calcisma Behemoth. I don't have any. I don't get to play this card very often. I think it's good, though. I feel like I'd still rather have a Warbrute, second one. Warbrutes don't get that good in multiples. They're nice to have a couple of, though. Screamreach Brawler, on the other hand, it's not terribly exciting. And we don't have enough flyers to really make Dragon Tempest. In fact, we don't have any flyers, so Dragon Tempest is not that appealing of a pick. I think I'm going Warbrute number 2, and then I'm probably just good on Warbrutes at that point. Okay, good white picks here. Dragon Hunter, good for aggressive plan. I think I want Sarkhan's Rage, though. It's just really solid removal spell, which we're a little bit short on if we're not going to make this flatten work, which at this point it kind of feels like I'm not going to be able to. There's also a Survivalist, though. Survivalist is very good, especially if I end up in the green. But I think I'm just going to take Rage regardless, because we're guaranteed to be red, and Rage is always playable, so I'll take it. Okay, Pacifism. I think at this point I'm ready to just pull the trigger on white and be happy with that. Pacifism's strong, so happily picking that here. Tormenting Voice seems like something I could play. Otherwise, lose Calm or Tread Upon a Green. No, we'll go Tormenting Voice. I don't mind having one of those. Bit of a miss here. I could take the Battle Mastery. I guess it's good with like Tarka Efreet or Warbrute or something. I mean, there's a chance. I don't think it's likely I'm playing Battle Mastery, but it certainly can be strong. I'm not giving up anything for it, so I don't see why not. All right, Artful Maneuver. Certainly a fine card in a deck like this, so we'll take it. We could, honestly, we could end up playing Stormsinger here. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. So it looks like we're just, very late getting into a red-white deck, based solely on the fact that we saw some late white picks that are relatively strong. So probably just, at this point, ditching the green and black plan that we were willing to engage in for a red-white aggressive build, which looks good. Impact Trimmers is pretty questionable. I mean, it does work well with Dash, and it's going to work well with Dragon Fodder, but Outrider tabling is pretty awesome. So taking that over the champion. I could take Stormrider Rig. I don't think it's super likely I'm going to play it, but I'm not going to play Dragon Tempest either. Let's take the Rig, I guess. There's a chance. None of these cards matter for us. I guess I'll take the Icebreaker. I mean, technically we have 4 toughness guys, but I'm not going to play Gate Smasher, so we'll let somebody else play it. All right, last pick, Magmatic Chasm. Can't say I'm terribly surprised. I had a deck that was optimal for Magmatic Chasm once, and it still just was subpar at best, so not a very good card. This is interesting. I was going to say Break Through the Line is interesting in this deck because we actually have quite a few guys that could benefit from it, but it's pretty easy Sandblast. Oh, actually there's Bathe. I'm going to take Bathe over Sandblast. White was open pack 1, and Bathe is going to be better for our aggressive looking deck because we want to proactively play Bathe rather than wait to react with Sandblast. So that makes sense to me. I mean, there's a Ward Scale Dragon too, but that's not exactly the direction I want to go. I want to go hyper aggro here. So cards I don't want to end up with at the end. Dragonlord's Servant. Probably Impact Trimmers. I can leave it alone for now. I'd prefer to not run Storm Singer. I'd prefer to not run Battle Mastery. I'd prefer to not run Stormrider Rig. So there's actually quite a few things I'd prefer to not run. But here I think we got to slam the Outcast and hope to table the Warflare. I think that's going to work best for us. Outcast is just fantastic. I mean, granted, there's a Palace Siege here, which is obviously very good. But we're not going to... At this point, I'm not swapping into black for 1 Flatten, 1 Palace Siege. I mean, I've got some actual playable white. I guess I do only have Pacifism and Dromoka Warrior. Well, and Artful Maneuver. Versus Palace Siege and Flatten. That's actually interesting now. Do I want to swap back into black based solely on getting past the Palace Siege? I mean, this is a good card. This is a good card. But we're so creature light. That could be a big problem. I mean, we only have like 9 creatures, including the dragon fodder. That's pretty low. All right, we're going for Outcast. I want to stick with this red-white Warflare plan with the fodders. I'm going to stick with that, despite Palace Siege being ridiculously strong. Okay, another Warflare chance to table. I kind of want to take this Bloodfire Enforcer instead. We do have sorceries, and we have instants? We don't have instants. Okay, we've got Artful Maneuver and Sarkhan's Rage and Volcanic Rush. All right, we do have instants. So let's take the Bloodfire Enforcer, which is a fine card regardless, and hope to table the Warflare. I mean, at this point, we need to get some creatures. All right, Heel Cutter certainly qualifies as a creature, and a very good one at that. So pretty happily picking that little bad boy up. That little baddie. Unfortunately, none of these cards are super appealing. I could see myself playing Dragon Rage, but not with this light of a creature. Well, I'm not getting a creature here regardless. All right, I guess I'll take Dragon Rage. I think we're going to take the Monk over the Efreet. I think it's just better. Especially if we table those Warflares. So, probably cut the Battle Mastery. I think I have to keep all of my creatures, unfortunately. I think Impact Trimmers is... We can probably cut that now. It's not going to make the cut. All right, Dragon Bell Monk, however, fine pickup here. Battle Rage, how good is that? We've got double Warbrute, Enforcer, Outrider. It's another instant. A Tarkir Efreet, yeah. Battle Rage is not only getting picked, it's gonna make the deck. All right, I think this is interesting. I can take Efreet, but I almost want to just take Cleric. Cleric is less aggressive, but I would just consider it a better card than Efreet in general. Gaining life is certainly better than taking damage when it dies, and 1/3 is at least comparable to 2/2. There's also a Hungering Yeti, but it doesn't even get the full value with our deck. I'll take Arishan Cleric. I think Smoldering Efreet beats down slightly better, but Arishan Cleric life gain could be super relevant potentially, and we're definitely still hunting for creatures. All right, Break Through the Line works with, currently it works with By my count, about 8. That's not quite enough, I think. So I kind of want to just take this Windscarred Crag, since we have enough playables already. See if those Warflares tabled. Yep. All right, good. So as we were hoping, we do get the Warflare back, which means we can start cutting cards that are less impressive. Like, I think we're likely to get both back. I think that's a fairly good chance of that. All right, we'll take the second Cleric. I mean, I think we actually have to play it. We're just creature light enough where, I mean, granted, they're not aggressive beaters, but they fill the board for our Volcanic Rush and Warflares, so I'll do it. All right, looks like we did not table the second Warflare, but between Warflare and Volcanic Rush, 15 creatures, including the Dragon Fodders, I think we're good. Boomkeg's an option. I can consider it. Refocus could be annoying. Efreet tabling's pretty good. I think we're gonna have to find a way to fit that little bad boy in. Okay, so deck looks okay. I mean, we're aggressive, which is something I like. We have an adequate creature count, 16 with the Dragon Fodders. Let's group stuff separate here. We can take a closer look. These count as creature spells. So I don't want to run 16 lands. I do think I want to run all my creatures, though. I kind of need them. I mean, Stormsinger's not the worst. It's at least something I can do with, like, I don't know, some of these guys. Oh, I accidentally take it out. All right. And we do have the Windscarred Crag. All right. So, yeah, I mean, this deck looks fine. We do have to figure out some cuts. I kind of want the Volcanic Rush and the Warflare. We have enough high power guys where the Trample or the Combat Trick of Warflare is going to be nice. And I have to say again, Aerishan Cleric is not super impressive in a beatdown deck, but against opposing beatdown decks, it's like your ace in the hole. And there's a lot of beatdown decks in this format. Being able to play something that can block their 2-drop as well as gain you some life to get to a late game plan, of which we have a pretty good late game plan. If we can clog up a board, a Warflare or Volcanic Rush just destroys, or just find a good opportunity to cast Battle Rage to get 1,000,000 damage in. So yeah, I mean, I think the Aerishan Clerics are going to work in this deck. So I'm kind of tempted to, I guess, cut Artful Maneuver. Basically, if you're not hard removal, I have to make 2 cuts. I may also cut the Tormenting Voice. I actually like Tormenting Voice, but I don't want to cut Battle Rage, Roast, Pacifism, Bathe, Warflare, Rage, or Volcanic Rush. So I think I'm going to keep all of our removal and get rid of the card quality enhancer of Tormenting Voice. I mean, I think this deck will function fine at 17 lands. We don't need to risk it and run 16, I don't think. I don't think we do. I feel like we can stay busy with our mana in this deck. I guess either dashing or... To be honest, I think I could play 16 lands. I just not sure if I want to. At the same time, I don't want to get flooded. I actually really like Enforcers in this deck. Let's do a quick... we've got 1, 2, 3, 4... We have 4 sorceries and 1, 2, 3, 4 instants. That's not bad. That is legitimately not bad for Enforcer to get active. This is tough, man. I don't know if I want to run 16 lands. I don't think it's worth it. Ultimately, I don't think it's worth it. I think we could, but we've got a few dash creatures. I basically just don't want to get mana screwed. I don't want to get flooded either, so it's quite the dilemma. I don't know what to say. I could run 16 lands. It's possible. But what would be the 24th card? Like a Tormenting Voice? I could see that. Because then at least with Tormenting Voice, could draw me into more lands if I needed it. The thing is, if I run 17 lands, I think I really want this Tormenting Voice. Like, it makes more sense to run 17 lands than Tormenting Voice, in my mind. But I don't know what to cut for it. It can't be any of these spells because I like them all too much. So it could be like one of my creatures, which is maybe like a Stormsinger. And that drops me down to 15 creatures, which is still acceptable. All right. I think if I'm going 17 lands, we're going to bring in the Tormenting Voice. I think I'm cutting Stormsinger. I'd rather cut the Stormsinger than the Cleric. I mean, the haste is kind of cool, but I'm probably going to be dashing, dude. It like works best with an Enforcer or an Outrider. Not to say that wouldn't happen, but otherwise I could cut an Efreet, I guess. Maybe Efreet's worse than Stormsinger, but it's a nice 2-drop. I do want to keep a good pace on my opponent. I could see the argument for Efreet being worse than Stormsinger, but especially since the morph is so cheap, they never. I mean, it ends up being a 2/2 anyway, but they could be scared of it. Like morphs kind of put fear into your opponent occasionally. All right, just for the potential benefit of Stormsinger, I'm going to cut the Efreet. And we're going to run that Tormenting Voice. Okay. I mean, I'm satisfied with this. 17 lands and Tormenting Voice, at least it like minimizes, not, well, it helps to minimize the flood potential of this deck, which I do think is a realistic problem this deck could have. Geez. I don't think we want to do that. I'm actually okay with 7 white. Do I have a lot of need for red beyond? I don't have any double red. There are times I'm going to want to play 2 red in one turn. I think we can go up 1 more because this is 10 red sources, 8 white sources. And we only need 1 red to function like, you know, early on. But all of our white spells are pretty cheap, so we really want to make sure we can cast them when we need to. All right, I like the deck. I do think it's pretty good. I think it's, like I said, the main issue is probably going to be something like a flood issue potential. But we seem like we can stay fairly busy. We have some powerful spells here, so I think this is it. Final build. All right, we'll see round 1 with this.